the Royal Express keeps rolling along. Detroit, Baltimore, Chicago, Minnesota, New York, and Boston have all been steamrolled by the Royal train since the All-Star break. Now come the Marlins, young and athletic. Will Miami be able to knock KC off their tracks, or will the good times continue to roll at the K? Find out next. The wild ride continues at Kauffman Stadium. Tonight it's Game 1 of a 3-game series with the Marlins and the Royals. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. The Royals are still the only team not to have lost a series since the All-Star break, and they have found different ways to win every single night. Sometimes it's pitching. Sometimes it's defense. Lately, it's been the offense. You see what they have done during their 18-5 streak. Batting average 277, averaging 4.5 runs per game. Opponent's batting average just 240, and the starter's ERA 2.97. Relief bullpen has been even better. Joining me tonight is Rex Hudler. And Rex, it is interesting because the starters carried this team for such a long time, and now they're finding different ways to win.
Ned Yo said, look, we have to be patient with our offense. Now, we know we have the capabilities and we know we have the offense that can support the pitching, but it's going to come. We just got to be patient, and there it comes. Whenever you see Verlander shaking his head in a start means not good. Now, Machado says, yeah, we might be second behind the Royals because the way they're playing defense and saving runs for their starting staff, Robin Ventura, they don't want to see the Royals anywhere near the airspace. And I'll tell you what, when it comes to mistakes by pitchers, they happen, but they're run down by great defense. And Bruce Chin to win, it's been beautiful. An addition here or there is all what you need to mix in that formula of success. Gardenhire says, you know what, we'll give you one of our guys, Jamie Carroll even. How about this? This body of work is never getting tired. Starting pitching, back into the bullpen. Oh, and then here come the beast from the east. We tamed them like a bunch of pussycats. Look at the beautiful action by Holland. What a stud he is. Salvi to the rescue. It's just fun here at the old ballpark.
The Wonder Dog is fired up tonight. Wade Davis is back on the hill after missing the last 9 games. We'll come back and talk more with Joel Goldberg after this.
The infielder is in the house. Played for the Twins yesterday in Chicago, flew back to Minnesota, and then here to Kansas City to meet and join his new team. Welcome back to Kauffman Stadium. Joel Goldberg in right field. Jamie Carroll was here a week ago with the Twins. Now he is a member of the Royals and part of a couple transactions today. The Royals add him. They also activate from the disabled list Chris Getz, and he is in the starting lineup tonight. Going back down to the minors, Will Smith and Irving Falou, and Ned Yost saying that Carroll and Getz won't be a straight platoon, but they will share a lot of time at second base. You'll see a lot of Carroll at third, too, to fill in every now and then for Mike Moustakas. One guy we will not be seeing tonight will be Alex Gordon, and he had a great series over the weekend against the Red Sox with spectacular defense crashing into the wall, 6 for 15, 2 home runs, but he is gone for the birth of his second child. His wife, Jamie, Ned Yost saying giving birth this afternoon to a baby boy. We don't have any more details on that, but congratulations to Jamie, Alex, and Max on his baby brother. And Alex is expected back tomorrow. But next up, it's the first game of this series on Fox Sports Kansas City.
Scratchers game to win 100 grand or more. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealer, the official vehicle of the Kansas City Royals. This game is brought to you in high definition by Time Warner Cable, the official TV, internet, and home phone provider of the Kansas City Royals. Mike Renman brings his Marlins baseball team in. They have had difficulty on the road, 18 wins and 40 losses. This is his first year as a big league manager, former catcher for the Minnesota Twins, among other organizations. And the starting lineup that he will show will have Christian Yelich to lead things off, just 21 years old. This is a very young team. Donovan Solano will go second. Then their main threat, Giancarlo Stanton. He of the 37 home runs last year, a little down this year with 13. Logan Morrison, a local guy from Kansas City, will go in the cleanup spot. Then Ed Lucas, Greg Dobbs. Echeverria is an outstanding defensive shortstop. Marisnik, and then the veteran catcher, Jeff Mathis. And Wade Davis returns to the active roster today after being on the family emergency list since last Sunday following his stepbrother's passing. I'm sure, Rex, it is with heavy heart Wade will be pitching tonight.
It is, but he's happy to get back out there. And typically when a player goes through that, he's most comfortable right out there where he makes his living on the slab. Looking for his first home win, kind of like James Shields since April. Okay, the keys for Wade Davis tonight are to get through the first few innings and settle in. Okay, attack the strike zone with all of his pitches and don't be too fine. Okay, trust Salvador Perez to navigate you through these young bats. So don't try to do too much, but just try to get through the first few innings. Then see how it goes.
He is going up against an offense that is dead last in not only the National League but the major leagues in so many categories. Last in batting at 229, last in runs scored, averaging just 3.5 runs per game. But they have plenty of talent, particularly on the pitching and defensive side. But most of these youngsters, like Yelich at the age of 21, here before they should be. He was in Class A ball last year. 21 years old, out of Thousand Oaks, California. Hosmer will take this one, give it up to Wade Davis, and there's one out. Wade Davis last pitched 9 days ago at Citi Field, allowing a 2-run home run to David Wright. So that will be interesting as well, Rex. Usually you get 4 to sometimes 5 days off, but he hasn't pitched in 9.
Yeah, you know, it could be an issue for him. But if he can just get some early count-outs in the first few innings, like I talked about, and he should be okay. But he might be a little strong, but we just have to wait and see how he's going. So far, first hitter, not too bad.
And now one of those rare players out of the country of Colombia, Donovan Solano. And he swings at the first pitch, pops it up. Hosmer will race over, but it will be back into the seats. Strike one.
Well, one good thing that Davis is going to expect here is that with facing a young offense, they're going to be swinging early. They're hackers. Okay, there's not a whole lot of them that have plate discipline, so that's going to help Wade Davis get through the first few innings.
They are second to last in the National League in walks at 2.5 per game. On the line to Chris Getz. Good to see him back and healthy after that wounded knee, but he played the last 6 games down in the minor leagues in a rehab assignment.
Sure is good to see Getzy back there. You know, hopefully he'll bring a little bit of energy and show some range out there on that defensive side. Give him in and hit a little, that's all. All right, great defense. There's no question about it. One of the best in baseball. As far as the ground they cover and the runs they save, David Lowe, he's been really a nice bright spot. Wherever you put him, he's in left in place of Alex Gordon tonight.
Giancarlo Stanton is only 23 years old, but he has already hit 106 home runs in his major league career. 37 last year, 34 the year before, but down this year. And it almost seems like he's been a bit detached from this team because there are so many rumors swirling near the trade deadline that he would be shopped and gone. He pops it up right side. Salvador finally finds the baseball and calls off Hosmer. And Eric gives him a little chest bump. They got it done. And Wade Davis, good to see 22 back and a 1-2-3 first. 4, 7 games over 500, and here's the lineup he sent out to home plate tonight. David Lowe will lead things off. Eric Hosmer bats second, then Billy Butler, Salvador Perez, Mike Moustakas, Justin Maxwell, Chris Getz, Alcides Escobar, and Gerard Dyson. On the hill for the Marlins will be young right-hander Tom Kohler.
All right, Tom Kohler is coming off a loss to the Pittsburgh Pirates, but in that loss he had a career-high 8 strikeouts. So we'll wait and see what this guy's got to feature here, but he does have a veteran catcher catching him. That's big. Okay, Mathis has done well, and also he's a very solid catcher and good signal caller. He's throwing out a lot of runners, over 40%.
Kohler's first pitch is a bit low ball one, and he is a strike thrower. He must be, because he does not have overpowering stuff. Low at 298. He's been one of the top rookies in the American League this year. Top 5 in batting, doubles, triples, hits. And he knocks that one to center field. Marisnek will make the catch for out number 1.
Okay, what the Royals will be seeing from Kohler is a 90 to 93 mile an hour fastball. Okay, he's got a slider, he's got a little spike curve he'll throw, and a changeup. His keys are to command his fastball, keep him down, out over the plate, get the curveball over, and control his emotions. He's a young guy, and he's from New York, and sometimes New Yorkers are a little intense and sometimes a little bit energetic. Chuck Hernandez, first-year pitching coach for the Marlins, was sharing some information with me today about him, saying they like him, but he's got to keep the ball down.
Particularly against this guy, Eric Hosmer, who has been so hot since the All-Star break, hitting .340 with 16 home runs since the break. Royals winning 18 of their 23 since the break. And Hosmer with a favorable 2-0 count. He is from the Miami area, so he had a chance growing up to watch the Marlins play a few times.
Go ahead, throw a fastball, better chuck and duck. Ooh, he just missed that.
And it's popped up foul territory. Ed Lucas over, and Lucas will make the catch.
Ooh, and Hosmer is saying to himself, oh, how could I miss? He wasn't real happy walking back to the dugout. Oh, man, that's his pitch right there. And he just got up under it.
Well, Kohler has been one of those guys, you got to get to him early. He has allowed 14 runs in the first inning for an ERA of 9, but after that, 3.65, not bad. This is his first year in the big leagues. Spent 5 years in the minors before 2013, 123 games, and a pretty good ERA at 3.74. Facing Billy Butler. 12 hits on this homestand.
But he's learning. He's learning mainly how to control his emotions, his mound presence. Those are always the first things that you learn when you're a first-year pitcher. Second, third year. Sometimes guys don't get that till their 4th and 5th years. An example is after you give up a big hit, hanging your head, just watching your body language. Make sure it's positive. That's the main thing. What they want to work on. Try not to show too much emotion.
Didn't miss by much with that breaking ball, and the count moves even, 2-2.
Obviously, Kohler knows all about Billy Butler, so he's keeping the ball away from him. Doesn't want to make any mistakes out over the middle.
And he reached for that off-speed pitch. Grounder to Echeverria, who makes an easy play, and both starting pitchers with very comfortable first innings. off when they got him. Our Toyota League leaders show you the most strikeouts per 9 innings since 2012. Davis right there at 9.3. Yu Darvish #1. He had a career high 15 today in Texas's 2-1 win over Houston. He had a no-hitter for 7 1/3 before Carlos Corporon broke it up. So Davis sharp in the first. Now will face former Kansas City native Logan Morrison, and he pops it up foul territory. Perez or Hosmer, and it's Eric. He'll make the catch for out #1.
It's almost identical spot as the last out of that last inning. Salvador Perez, you know, he gets to a lot of balls. But pop-ups, though, you want your corners to take command.
Yeah, that pop-up by Stanton to end the first inning. At first, he couldn't find the baseball, and Eric saw it. And then Salvi was able to pick up the baseball and call him off, and they smiled at each other, gave themselves a chest bump as they began their walk back to the dugout. Now it is Ed Lucas, who was a Kansas City Royals draft pick back in 2004 in the 8th round out of Dartmouth, and then bounced around the minor leagues forever. And Rexy is a 31-year-old rookie. To the right side, Maxwell up against the wall. Ooh,
what a play.
Justin, my goodness, what a play. He's trying to take a page out of Alex Gordon's book.
Wow, he became Spider-Man. He's stuck to the wall. That ball there, I thought was going to make the seats. Great judgment play. So he jumps and uses his body to take the hit, man. Wow, nice padding on that wall. It's a good thing. And look at that divot he makes out there in that wall with his cleat. Beautiful catch. Wade Davis says, yeah, that's what I need.
That's the effort you love to see in a pennant chase. The Royals 7.5 games back of Detroit, a half game back of Cleveland for second in the Central, 4.5 games out in the wild card race.
But fans, Kansas City Royals fans, they've become accustomed to watching plays like that all year. You just never know which performer is going to do it. They're all great.
Gordon last night picked up James Shields with that remarkable catch of Jacoby Ellsbury's foul ball. And now it's Lowe chasing it towards the stands, but it will reach the seats. And if you did not hear the pregame show with Joe Goldberg, who chronicled everything, well, Alex Gordon not in the starting lineup. He's back home with his wife Jamie, and they had a baby boy, their second child today. So Max has a brother. David Lowe getting the start in left field, and Dyson in center, and Maxwell you saw in right.
You're right. Our teammate Joel Goldberg, man, he covers everything. If you want to know what's going on with the Royals, tune in to the pregame show. And Monty, he's got skills of his own.
We are just their valets. I know you carry the bags for Monty to the plane. I carry them for Joel Goldberg.
Yeah, he's a Royals Hall of Famer. Take care of it.
And Joel is also in his mind.
He's great.
Love him.
We need him.
Greg Dobbs, one of the rare veterans that Miami has in their starting lineup tonight. And the last time Greg came to the K, he was a member of the Philadelphia Phillies, and it was 6 years ago in 2007, and he had quite a series. 4 for 7, 2 doubles, a home run, 3 RBIs. He takes a called strike 3 from Wade Davis on the outside corner. Beautiful fastball thrown at 94.
Great spot.
Royals in home runs this season. Remember, Butler led the team with 29 last year, but Gordon, since they moved him to the cleanup spot, has 3 in his last 5 games.
Yep. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I remember last year we asked this question early, and a few people chose Billy Butler, and he won. This year, I'm going to go with Moose. I'm going with Moose.
What about Hosmer?
Well, you could go with any of them, really, because look at where they are. They're all right in the pack. But if Moose gets hot and he's a dead pull hitter, I think Moose can lead the team in homers. Even after that horrible start he got off to this year. He's back.
He belted 20 last year, and here's Salvador Perez, 4 home runs, has greater potential than that. Back from the 7-day concussion DL yesterday, as the Royals knocked off Boston and took 3 of 4 with the team with the most wins in the American League, the Red Sox. Salvi came back, had a walk, had a knock, 3 at bats.
You know, it really makes it fun when you're facing guys you've never faced before, because that's what really determines just an old-fashioned baseball game. We're going to go out and play. We don't know our opponents. Let's just play the game.
Third base, Ed Lucas. 1 out. It's interesting you would say that, you, a veteran of 10 major league seasons, but you talk to a guy like Billy Butler, he said, no, I want to know what the guy throws, if I've seen him in the past. I'd love to have faced guys who I've seen 30 or 40 times in the big leagues.
Yeah, you know what? Some guys are like that, but I'm just saying from a fan standpoint, and even players sometimes, all you can do is look at some video of a guy you've never seen before. You watch him, but if you watch him too long and study him too long, paralysis by analysis sets in. That's not good. See a couple of his pitches, maybe a move to first base, whatever they have on camera for you, and then go out and strap it on and get to it, man. Look for that fastball out over the plate. Look for the mistake. Same game.
Here is Moustakas, who started this homestand so well with a 4-hit game against Minnesota.
You may not know what he's got, but he don't know your strengths either. He might be told, but anytime he lets that ball go, hitters are looking for a mistake.
Moustakas down in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And they make them.
Marlins came in at 44-72, last in the National League East, 27 games back of Atlanta. They lost to the Braves yesterday, 9-4. But this will be a test for the Royals, because the Marlins actually have played very good baseball the last few months. They started this season 13-41, and they've played 500 balls since. So they've got a lot of young talent on the team and very good pitching.
Starting pitching.
Moose pulls it to the right side. Morrison drops the baseball, still has time to give it up to Kohler. The play goes 3-1. Now the new kid on the block, Justin Maxwell, acquired just before the trade deadline from the Houston Astros, and the 29-year-old outfielder certainly has made his presence felt in the Royals' success. 9 for 20 as a Royal, overall 268, 5 home runs, 3 of them in the short time with the Royals.
A nice slider. Pitching coach Chuck Hernandez was working with Kohler on a cutter, but he just hasn't been able to get it so far this year. Doesn't mean he won't, so he's just staying with the slider. There's a nice little 4-seam fastball.
We told you that the Royals are chasing Cleveland for second place in the Central, and the Twins have taken a 1-0 lead in the Tribe in the second inning. Here it's a 0-0 ball game. Both teams looking for their first base runner. Justin Maxwell has a 1-2 count. Skies it in the air. shallow center field. Donovan Solano. 1, 2, 3 go the Royals in number 2. The bottom of the order. That means Echeverria, Marisnik, and then Mathis. Ground ball past Moustakas at third. David Lowe gets it back to the infield in a hurry, but Echeverria will be out, and he's David Lowe, like Justin Maxwell did. Now David Lowe taking a page out of Alex Gordon's book. Terrific play down the line to keep him from a double.
Well, that's a byproduct of not knowing your outfielders in your arms. Fifth outfield assistant Lowe says you got to go. That was beautiful, right on that bag. Look at this kid can fly, man. But David Lowe got to it quickly. There was a sense of urgency, and he made a perfect throw. And that kid said, "You know what? I'm not going to try that again."
Or learn how to slide.
Really, that was kind of a funky slide.
Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, and we're now joined by Joe Randa. And for Lowe, that was his 5th outfield assist. And Joe, good to have you aboard.
It's great to be here.
Did you know that Billy Butler is chasing you down? You had 1,084 hits as a Royal, and Billy's I think like 7 hits away from you.
Yeah, and you know what, Billy deserves it. He earns his hits. I tell you that. He's a professional hitter. Uses the ballpark of what it. I mean, if this was turf and they had the fences where they were when I played here, he'd probably have a little bit more home runs as well.
There you go.
Yeah. Like you weren't a professional hitter.
Well, I mean, I was a right center guy.
Yeah, you stayed up the middle.
Yeah.
You were tough, man. I like the way you played.
Yeah.
You ran hard, played hard.
I learned from you. I watched you play.
No. You had a nice career, man. I'm telling you. But we're happy you're up here, man, to come out. What you been doing?
Up, chasing the kids around. Youth baseball is a monster, as everyone knows here in Kansas City. So that kind of takes up my summer, but it's been enjoyable.
Okay, how do you wind up and it's getting close to school time now?
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, that is a good thing. I'm the same
Some
way.
schedules. Yeah, it's great. It just started today.
Marisnik with a base hit up the middle. And Joe, you're also here to talk about Royals fantasy camp. And here's a little look at you in action. Here's
young
left
buck.
center.
It's a young buck.
You're going left center out of the
Jose Offerman.
Look at you there.
Oh my gosh.
Huh? Stay with it. Ooh, nice play.
Pat Borders.
There's your buddy.
Yeah.
There you go, Joe.
But you wanted to talk about the Royals Alumni Fantasy Camp.
Right.
Can you talk about that? It's coming up in January.
It's my favorite time of the year. I think it's January 20th through the 24th this year, and it's just really cool to be out there with the guys.
Ooh, and they just did clip it, but they will not get the error. Just clipped the glove of Eric Hosmer. So it will be a fielder's choice as Mathis will reach first base. But Hosmer with a nice feed to Alcides Escobar.
Well, he wasn't sure who was covering first base, so Escobar said, I'm just going to throw it over there. Joe, how impressed have you been with the Kansas City Royals in 2013?
It's awesome.
Especially the second half.
It's anywhere you go, they're watching the games, they're into the games. I've been to eating dinner, and the fans are really into the games. And that's really what, as a player, you want, is people to be watching the games and knowing that there's something at stake this time of the year. And I was at the game Saturday night, and the atmosphere was like an opening day atmosphere. It was awesome.
No question. You know, how about the defense? I mean, you could put any of these guys in a hat, put their numbers or their names, and you could draw it out and say, okay, this guy's going to flash the leather tonight. He's going to make the big play. We've already seen Maxwell down the line crash into the wall and make that play. When you're getting that kind of performance, you're saving that pitching staff runs, and it's been fun to watch.
It really has. The athleticism and the youth that they have on the field, and the range, the infield defenses. That's what, being an infielder, that's really what I focus on. And watching these guys on the left side of the infield and the communication, I think they're really comfortable with each other now, Escobar and Moustakas, and they know each other. They know what balls to go after. You can see them communicating, and they've just had an outstanding year.
Christian Yelich, the batter now, and grounds it up the middle, but gets it right to Alcides Escobar. Joe, stay with us because we want to talk more about the Royals Alumni Fantasy Camp coming your way January 20th to the 24th. David Nelson is sitting in the Buck O'Neill legacy seat, and he's a member of the World's Faith Center for over 30 years. Dr. David Nelson co-founded the Greater Kansas City Interfaith Council to welcome people of different religions and offer various programs to those involved. David also works as an appreciative inquiry coach and with the Life Connections program at the penitentiary in Leavenworth, assisting many by helping them discover what they do best. David Nelson always helping out. Once again, Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, Joe Randa, former Royal. He wants to talk about the Royals Alumni Fantasy Camp. And, Joe, I would imagine for any mom or dad, grandfather, grandmother out there, their child loves the Royals, and this would be a fantastic Christmas gift to give them for December 25th.
Well, the group of alumni that are there every year, John Mabry is by far one of the most wonderful gentlemen to talk baseball with, and the stories of the 70s and 80s were really, that's what the history of Kansas City is all about, is that time frame. And hopefully this club can create some history here this year and getting back to the playoff baseball. But that's what a lot of these guys come to hear is those stories in the 70s and 80s, and to have your own locker and have clubhouse guys cleaning your uniform, and these guys are throwing their sliding shorts and socks down on the ground, like major league guys do, and the clubhouse guys come and pick them up and put them back in their locker, all folded up, and it's just a neat deal to see these guys enjoy it.
Getz pulls one to the second baseman, Solano, and there's one out, and that's 7 in a row retired by Kohler. Give the fans an example of what the average day is like. I mean, you're working with former managers and coaches of the fantasy team like George Brett, Jermaine Dye, Al Fitzmaurice, Mark Gubizad, Dennis Leonard, Jeff Montgomery, Freddie Patek, John Wathan has been there, Frank White, Willie Wilson.
There's a lot of insight. There's teaching going on. Guys want to be taught hitting philosophies, fielding techniques. But the main deal is you get there in the morning, you have 2 games a day, and these guys, usually after the 3rd day, they're getting in the training room. We have trainers there that are doing massages, icing. They have whirlpools for these guys to get ready to play. And you play 2 games a day, and like you said, we got our coaches that coach each team. And
it's awesome. It's a lot of fun for the alumni, too.
It is.
Because, you get to go out and actually play 1 game at the end. Okay? So now all the campers get to play against the stars and the guys that they saw grow up, and they watch them play in championships. So it's really a fun, but for the alumni to get out there and actually play baseball again, it can be adventurous, too.
It can. And a lot of the guys, they want the younger guys, like I consider myself one of the younger alumni, I guess, but last year on my team, we won the championship because we're the reigning champions, my team. And Jermaine Dye and Mike Sweeney were the 3 coaches of our team, and Jermaine Dye brought his little family bus, and we took the whole team out to dinner, and it was just a really cool deal. But when we play that game, you're right. These guys, they pitch against us, and they want to get you out, and you don't want to get out.
Escobar, left center field. 2 outs.
Yeah, but the main thing is the camaraderie and the jokes and the stories, and then against the chance to play. But it's really a wonderful experience to go and just hang out with the guys. And but women, you're invited too, right?
Ladies, there's ladies there. Yeah,
be happy to have the ladies come.
The age is you must be 30 or over.
Or 30 now.
Yeah, 30 now.
So it's going to get more competitive now.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
And you know what's going to happen? It's all about bragging rights. It's about
how long
coming
did you
home,
play?
Hud.
How long? Well, were you when you retired?
35.
Yeah, I was 38.
Yeah.
Come on, man. 30-year-olds? Ooh.
Some of these guys played college ball, too. They come out and they bring it.
And they say, they want to be able to say, I ripped one by George Brett at 3rd.
Right. And George would say, I'm glad you did, because I'm not moving. I'm not getting dirty.
Here is Gerard Dyson as the Royals looking for their first base runner. Miami has 2 hits, but Echeverria didn't last long as Lowe threw him out, trying to stretch a single into a double. Joe, when you saw this team in May, can you talk about what you saw when they were 5-20 and what you're seeing differently now that they're 18-5 since the break?
Well, I heard a quote from Jeff Montgomery, and he said these guys are learning how to win, and I believe that. I think it's taken a process of the wins and losses to understand how do you go about winning and understanding it and not getting too high when you're winning a game and not getting too low, but staying in the middle and knowing it's 162 games and you got to find a way to stay consistent mentally. And I think they found a way to kind of stay in the middle through the good and through the bad, to just stay consistent in their approaches, their everyday approaches. And I really think then you go through 8 wins, 9 wins, you get some confidence. And these guys, I think, all believe when they went to spring training they were going to win. I mean, I've talked with Alex and Mike Moustakas and guys like that. And these guys were very confident this year was going to be a special year.
Well, it certainly has been a special second half. Royals have won 16 of their last 19, and they have one of the fastest players in the game. Gerard Dyson at first base as Kohler made his first big mistake with 2 outs. He walks the number 9 hitter and the fastest man on the team in Dyson. Gerard, even though he doesn't play every day, leads the club in stolen bases with 17.
He's got game-changing speed. Be a good contest. Jeff Mathis, we talked about, he's 7th in the National League, throwing out 40.5% of runners. But, you know, you don't stay off the catcher. You spit it off that pitcher, don't you, Joe?
Right.
Try to get a jump off a guy, takes his time getting the ball home.
And Rusty's timing him every pitch.
He's got his watch over there.
Yep.
He times from when the pitcher breaks his hands to go home until the catcher catches it. That's what he's looking for. That's what Rusty Kuntz wants the time for. And anything 1-3 and under, it's tough to steal a base. Anything 1-3, 1-3-5 over, you got a pretty good chance to steal.
Right. Or he's varying his times too. Is he holding the ball longer? Is he staying in a pattern?
Right. But you know, the toughest thing for a runner is when he holds the ball. He just holds it and holds it, and you're trying to get a jump, and you're waiting on him. So, and then sometimes they'll hold, and then the next time he'll quick pitch home, catches you off guard, so you can't get a good takeaway. So there's a lot of different strategies a pitcher can use against a premium base stealer like Dyson.
Dyson does not go, and you'll appreciate this, Rex, because you're a premier base stealer. I was talking with Rusty Kuntz the other day when Felix Dubront was pitching, and I said, Rusty, why didn't Gerard go early in the count? And he said, Steve, he's 1-2 home, but he went with a high leg kick first, and the whole dugout was yelling, hey, 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 slide step. Now he's 1-1-7, and that's why Dyson had a difficult time getting a jump. Rusty yelled out to him, and he goes, you're on your own.
And, you know, Dyson's got the green light. He can pick his spots, but right now Kohler is falling behind. He might be concentrating too much on Dyson. Dyson's not going to hurt him. He hasn't given up a hit yet. He should be focusing on this hitter here, especially David Lowe.
Particularly with Hosmer in the on-deck circle.
And I appreciate you telling me I was a premium base stealer.
Yeah,
I
like that.
I wanted to comment on that, but I didn't. I let it slide.
Oh, Fizz,
Joe, I broadcast his best year in 1996, hit over 300, had 16 home runs, stole a ton of bases.
One good year, that was it.
That's all it takes, Rex.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The Phillies had to pay for it, though. I appreciate that.
Dyson goes. Pitch is taken, ball 4, 2 on with 2 out, and they've got a pitch to Hosmer.
It's good practice there by Dyson. Hosmer just missed a 2-0 pitch in his first at-bat.
He did.
Right down the middle.
Oh. His approach has been really consistent. I mean, he really looks, as we call, hitterish.
He does.
He looks hitterish.
Bat heads through the zone level, staying in a long time. How many guys do you know that they're hot spot center field? I mean, that's where he hits them. Amazing. So long. His arms are long legs, good leverage. And he's controlling that front foot.
And first base is such a productive spot. And he has more hits than any other American League first baseman with 131.
Okay, that front foot right there has been the key. Earlier, he'd be lifting it up way high, flamingo style, but by the time he set it down, his timing in his hands just wasn't working.
Right.
Now everything's clicking. See, he just barely picks it up now.
You got to have that little hesitation, that little separation where your foot gets down, where your hands are still back. It's not a long period of time, but if you can stay consistent with that and tracking pitches.
I tell you, Dyson's getting in his mind again at second base. Hosmer to left, but twisting around and making the catch is Christian Yelich. Good at bat by Hosmer, but doesn't come through. Joe Randa, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
charity concert featuring the Eli Young Band on October 3rd. Go to baconatdifference.com. And that is a great band. We've heard their music in the past. Only $10 for tickets, with 100% of the proceeds going to Harvesters Food Bank. If you want to check it out, go to baconatdifference.com. Donovan Solano will lead things off. Wade Davis has been sharp in his first 3 innings, allowing just 2 singles. He was helped out by his defense. A marvelous catch by Justin Maxwell in the foul territory of right. David Lowe threw out Hechavarria, trying to stretch a single to double, but David Lowe threw him out by a mile. Alex Gordon not with the team. He's at home with his wife Jamie, celebrating the birth of their second child, a baby boy.
Congratulations, Gordons.
To right center field, that ball will drop for a base hit, maybe 2. Maxwell knocks it down, and it will be a double to lead off the 4th inning for Solano.
Okay, Solano, kid, he's been really good this year knocking runs in. He's hitting .359 with a runner in scoring position. Now he's going to set the table up himself. Waited on that ball till it traveled deep and put a nice easy swing on it. Maxwell got a late break on it, but he stops it with a nice little slide. Kept him from getting 3.
Now Stanton. And he taps it at the plate. Davis, only play will be first. No advance by Solano, who I thought might break because it was not well struck, and Wade was going to let him take third with his back to third base.
Yeah, mental mistake. You got to advance. Especially nobody out. But you know what? When you're coaching and managing young players, you're teaching as they're going along. I mean, you mentioned a lot of these guys coming from A-ball, go right to the big leagues.
And now Logan Morrison comes up, and Joel Goldberg, you know this young man who's from Kansas City.
Is that know this young man, and while Logan Morrison says he bounced all over the country as a kid because he was a military kid, he says this place is more home than any others for him. He was born here and obviously has the contingent. There's a fathead here. He's got about 60 family members and friends, and yeah, the Marlins were having fun with that fathead today too. But he was born here, moved when he was just a few months old, came back from the ages of 11 to 16, played Mackensites baseball here, then returned again to play his college ball at Maple Woods Community College, and a lot of instruction over the years from Kevin Seitzer. He said his first big league game that he attended was here at about 5 or 6 years old at Kauffman Stadium, remembers the turf. Said he used to root. The 4 players that he listed off were George Brett, Bob Hamlin, Mike Sweeney, and Jeff Montgomery. So this, he says, is more home than anywhere else. His mom is on hand here today. And by the way, guys, not just a homecoming for him. Ty Hill, the strength and conditioning coach for the Marlins, was last with the Royals. And how about Hal McRae's son, Brian McRae's younger brother, Cullen McRae, the video coordinator for the Marlins since 1997. He says he is back here for the first time since '06 and spent the day walking around looking to see where he could find his dad up on the wall and in the Hall of Fame, and said he's lobbying for a Hal McRae bobblehead night.
And not too many 22nd round picks make it to the big leagues, but Logan Morrison did, out of Maple Woods Community College, same community college that Albert Pujols came from. Tried to check his swing, but he went, and the count evens at 2-2.
You know, he's a little bit anxious. He wants to do a lot, especially in front of his family here, friends. So sometimes when you're facing a guy like that, less is more. Take a lot off. Get him to overswing.
He got a fastball at 95 on his hands. He said he had left about 50 or 60 tickets for tonight's ball game. So many family members wanted to be at this series as the Marlins in town for 3 against the Royals. Fernandez and Chen tomorrow night. Then Wednesday afternoon we have a matinee for you. Jacob Turner will throw for the Marlins. Urban Santana for the Royals.
This kid's a good leader. They like Morrison's leadership skills. And that's what you need. You know, they also have Mike Redmond has Juan Pierre, who's a longtime veteran. Placido Polanco is on the team as well. These guys are all established veterans and at the end of their careers.
And the Marlins have built their organization with a lot of peaks and valleys. I mean, this is a organization that began in 1993 as the Florida Marlins. Down low, count is 3-2. But what they would do, Rex, was they would trade away their talent, get a lot of young talent, win a world championship, and then sell them off, build them up again with young talent acquired, and win a championship again in 2003, and then have a fire sale again in 2004. But the Miami community doesn't like that, and that's why their attendance has certainly been down.
Who would like that?
In the dirt, ball 4 to Logan Morrison. First walk issued by Wade Davis. Fans, the winner of the Fan Vote T-shirt Tuesday design is this Salvador Perez shirt, presented by Sport Clips, and will be given away to the first 10,000 fans tomorrow night. Gates will open at 5:30 when the Royals take on the Marlins, and these T-shirts will go fast. Get your tickets now at Royals.com/T-shirt Tuesday or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. Ed Lucas thought he would have a longer at bat last time up. But Justin Maxwell, also known as Spider-Man, climbed the wall in foul territory and made a sensational catch.
Yeah, you know, this is a 10-year minor league guy. Very valuable. He can play all the infield positions.
Davis has him down 0-2.
On deck hitter Greg Dobbs almost took that one. That foul ball almost hit him. Joe, when you can play all 4 infield positions, managers in the National League like that because you're doing a lot of double switching, a lot of pinch hitting, and getting a chance to get in the game.
Just off the plate at 89 miles an hour. The count moves to 1-2. Lucas has had some productive games this year. 4 hits on June 2nd against the New York Mets. He had his first home run about 2 weeks later off Barry Zito of San Francisco. Another close one, but called the ball, and it is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Lucas.
Hey, Brian Knight. Ooh, he's not giving any corners.
And you saw how long Salvador Perez froze with that baseball, hoping that Knight would give him the call. Carlson's the first base ump. Lance Barrett at second. Dan Iasonia, the crew chief, at third. The Royals have been chasing Tampa Bay, Oakland, Baltimore, Cleveland, and the wild card chase this year. Oakland won their game over Toronto earlier today, 5-1. Baltimore is at Arizona. We told you Cleveland and Minnesota are playing, and the Twins have now taken a 3-0 lead on the Tribe. That game is in the 4th inning. We are just starting the 4th. 1 out, 2 on.
So he wants to put him in the lane. It'll be the 5th time this year for Lucas if he can induce a ground ball double play.
Moose figured he'd practice since it was foul all the way. Ruled immediately by Dan Iasonia. He has gone from 0-2 to 3-2. Lucas with 2 home runs, 15 RBIs. I'm not sure if Salvador and Wade are on the same page as far as selection, location. But Rex, when we had that Chicago White Sox game when he won, he changed his tempo, working much quicker, and went 7 1/3 shutout inning and a 1-0 Royal victory.
Yeah, he slowed down the pace big time. You're right, they're not on the same page.
Time called wisely by Lucas. I mean, you've stood in that batter's box before. How many seconds can you have that extreme focus on a pitcher?
Not that long. I'm going to say 8 seconds, maybe 10 max. But you know, the umpire doesn't have to give him time. Okay? Just because the hitter calls for time doesn't mean the umpire's got to give it to you.
Good battle with Lucas. Down 0-2, now full 3-2. He's fouling off several tough pitches in this battle. If he gets on, the bases will be loaded for the lefty Dobbs.
But you know, there are times when pitchers got to slow the game down a little bit. There's runners on here. He's got one out. He's really, I think the time that's taken is the time to get the sign. That's what's taking most time. They can't get on the same page.
Right back to Davis. He'll go to first base. He had the double play, but I don't know where Escobar was.
He was right there. It was a mental mistake by Davis. Just throw it. They'll figure it out. You got to throw it. Get 2 and get out of the inning. He may not have been there initially, but that's why you know beforehand right there. Okay, just go ahead and give it to him. Escobar was waiting for it.
Yeah, it was very awkward.
Well, he may not have got there right away, but see, you throw it, a guy like that, Escobar, you don't have to give it to him right over the base. Just throw it to him, and Esky would have turned it. But, you know, sometimes that happens. But before the pitch is even thrown, that's why they look at each other out there and they say, who am I working with? Shortstop, second baseman. So when a comebacker comes to you, you know who to catch and turn and throw to.
Quite frankly, the inning should be over. Now Dobbs has a chance to do some damage. A single would make it 2-0 Marlins. We saw Tom Kohler make a mental mistake. Or actually, it was Echeverria or Solano this inning, not advanced to third base on a comebacker to Davis. And now Wade with a mistake, not throwing it to Escobar. And we've seen that before from Alcides, where he will catch the ball first a good couple of yards from the bag and then touch the bag, giving him time to leap up over the runner.
Well, it's all about just get the ball to the guy. Just get it to him. You don't have to throw it hard, so just throw it out over the base somewhere. These infielders are trained to go to the ball, to the bag, and catch it and turn. They have that kind of gift. He can get out of this inning.
Just barely inside at 94 miles an hour to Dobbs.
Yep, he looks good and strong. Okay, that's not an issue. We knew he'd be strong, especially after the layoff that he had. But now this is the time of game right here where he should be settling in. Ooh, man. That hurt. Inside part of the left knee. Ouch. Ooh. Ooh, man, you just don't walk those off. That hurt. Ooh, that's
So the bases will be loaded for the Marlins.
Look where this hits him. Ouch. That's a real tough spot right there. There's no muscle. That's all bone. Oof. That'll shatter a kneecap in a heartbeat. Luckily, it was a slider. He wasn't thrown 95 miles an hour.
Now Davis has to go back to square one. He had Dobbs down in the count, 0-2. And missed with one and then hit him on the knee. Echeverria has a base hit his last time up, right down the line. Danny Echeverria is one of the most talented young shortstops in the game. He was acquired in that mega deal with Toronto before the season. Josh Johnson and others going to the Blue Jays, and Echeverria, of course, coming from Toronto, and they already say he is one of the finest defensive shortstops in the game right now. 24 years old, from Cuba.
He's 2 for 9 with him loaded up this year. One of those hits, slam. Can't do that here. Salvi's saying, okay, let's use your brain here. Let's think it out. Be smart.
No appeal. 1-1 count.
Forget about the appeal. Where was the pitch? That's a nice pitch on the outer half down low.
Solano, Morrison, and Dobbs aboard. Ground ball third. Moustakas has it across the diamond. And Wade Davis does a good job getting out of a bases loaded jam in the fourth.
No hit the Houston Astros. Well, today he ends up giving up one hit in a 2-1 win against the Astros. Wins his 8th straight, 15 strikeouts. His catcher wasn't around at the end or even for much of this one because home plate umpire Ron Kolpa tossed him in an argument. There's the home plate umpire Brian Knight, and he grew up in Montana, but if you can believe it, guys, he is a diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan, and that came about because he had an uncle that lived here in Kansas City and ended up, because of that, going to William Jewell back around 1994. He used to go to Chiefs games in the winter, loved watching Joe Montana and Marcus Allen and guys like that play. And he and Lance Barrett, the second base umpire here tonight, or pardon me, the first base umpire, will be heading up to Chiefs camp tomorrow morning in St. Joe just to check out practice. So they're going to wake up first thing, head on up, and watch the team that Brian Knight calls his own.
How about that? And he had a chance to watch a terrific pitcher today in Yu Darvish. He now has 207 strikeouts, does Darvish, 15 today, a career high, and that's the most in the major leagues. Billy Butler will lead it off. 8 for 17 in the Boston series, and he knocks one to third. Lucas will throw out Billy, and boy, this Tom Kohler's looked really good. I mean, he's a guy who came in with a 4.5 ERA, but he's pitched very well of late. In his last 7 starts, he's 3-2 with a 3.46 ERA, and has allowed just 2 home runs. Recorded 34 strikeouts to 16 walks, so they like him at the back end of the rotation because, boy, they have some arms at the top end. We'll see one tomorrow in Jose Fernandez and another on Wednesday in Jacob Turner.
Yeah, he's mixing his pitches pretty well. Starting guys off with his secondary pitches. A lot of breaking balls. A lot of sliders, curve balls. And, you know, that's kind of what you do to a hot offense. Mix them up. Don't give them fastballs to hit.
Echeverria throws out Salvador Perez. The Royals still looking for their first base hit. And come out to Beers of the K, taking place at Rivals Bar on Friday, August 23rd from 5:30 to 7. You can purchase hard-to-find options and local favorites, including selections from Goose Island, Boulevard, and Leinenkugel. Brewers will be on hand to answer questions. Plus, the first 500 people into Rivals will receive a Royals tasting glass. Entry into Rivals is free, but you must be 21 or over. For the full list of beers and to purchase tickets for the game, go to Royals.com/Beers of the K. Here is Mike Moustakas grounding out to first, his first time up. 1 ball, 1 strike. We figured this might be a low-scoring series because the one thing the Marlins do well is pitch, and they've been in a lot of games. They've lost a lot of games. A lot of teams have had to beat them 1-0, 2-1, 3-2.
Moose stayed on that breaking ball. That's because it ended up down and in on him. He waited. Couldn't control the top end. Sometimes you'll just do that. You'll just go ahead and pull it, get it out of there.
Kohler has yet to strike a Royal out.
That looked like that was off his knuckles.
No ouch, so apparently just got wood. But once again, the Marlins have gone out and acquired top young arms through the draft or by trade. Henderson Alvarez coming over from Toronto. There is a nice play by Logan Morrison. But safe at first is Moustakas. And infield hits. That's the first hit of the game for KC.
All right, there you go. Moose. He won a foot race to the bag. Kohler didn't get a good jump over there off the mound. And Logan Morrison had a hard time again with the handle here. Okay, ball skipped. Nice play though. He kept that from going cleanly out there. He got it. Moose beat him. Kohler just got a late break going to first base there.
And he came up lame, and that's why their trainer and the manager are out to meet him on the mound. Moose swept past him, and then banked a little bit into Kohler, and we saw Kohler grimace as he went by the bag.
It's good to see Moose get rewarded for his speed. Got him an infield hit. Don't get too many of those, but watch Kohler. See how late?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I knew he got a late break over there. And Moose beat him.
So he'll take his time. Get back on that hill. Moustakas at first. Maxwell hoping that Kohler can make a mistake because Justin, very powerful, 6'5", 220. 18 home runs last year with the Astros. And he knocks that one foul as he's delivered a first pitch curveball.
You put one in Maxwell's wheelhouse, though, they've already seen what this guy can do. He can turn it out of the yard quickly. Little back underside, man. I get that backspin going. That ball travels. It shoots.
We saw how good he can be once he's healthy, but he has not been healthy this year with the Astros. Outside 1-1. Missed 2 months and 51 games with a broken bone in his left hand. Finally got healthy. And then had food poisoning. Later had a concussion, making a defensive play in the outfield in Houston. But got healthy, and for about a 3-week stretch was really beginning to pick things up. Then acquired by the Royals at the trade deadline for young right-handed pitcher Kyle Smith. Hit well, right center field. That will reach the wall. Moustakas has to hustle. They're going to send him home. They'll throw to third, not in time. Royals take a 1-0 lead on Maxwell's triple.
Don't have to stay in the yard to do damage. That ball was shot out there in the opposite field. Out over the plate. He waited on it. And Moose, fresh after winning the race at first base, felt good with his speed. He said, you know what? I can score on this. Perfect part of the yard. Opposite field out there. Got Moose all the way home.
Royals stirred it up with 2 out, an infield hit, then a triple. Now Chris Getz will try and come through. Getz showing bunt, pulling it back, taking strike one. He thought it'd surprise him. Looked like he was going to try and drag it with Morrison back at first.
Great idea.
Chris played 5 games at AAA Omaha, 6 hits and 20 at bats, including a home run yesterday against Sacramento. Outside, 1-1.
Getz went deep.
Yes. Went deep in Atlanta. We did that game. But a single would be perfect right here. And he does just that, ripping one back up the middle. Maxwell scores 2-0 Royals.
Heck, that wasn't even a lousy single. That was a crisp single. Very nice. Right back up the middle. Right by Kohler. Kohler got 2 outs on the Royals and said, you know what? I like my chances of getting out of it. And nothing wrong with that location either. That was a good pitch. It's down out over the plate a little bit, but it was down. He knocked in a stake. His 15th.
And now Chris might be off and running. He has 8 stolen bases this year. Has been caught just 1 time. Escobar flied out to center field his first time up. When Dyson was over there, Kohler threw over many times. Escobar had trouble on the road trip, only 4 hits and 40 at bats, but 11 for 25 on this homestand. It's a big hole between first and second. Getz goes, and there's a ball struck to the right side. Chris will make it all the way to third. And Escobar comes through with his 12th hit of this homestand.
Yeah, Esky's hot, but you know what? He has the great ability and the awareness to be able to see the runner going. This is not a planned play here. This was a straight steal. Getz didn't even peek in at all. He just saw him going, and he looked for something out over, and he just had to just kind of guide it through that right side. That's really nice.
Rex, I was surprised at how far the second baseman was playing towards second base with the ability of Escobar, and as often as he's gone to right field lately.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Sometimes you feel like you're in the right position, but that ball will find a hole, and they're going good right now. You know, you feed off each other, especially with 2 outs. Got a nice rally going here. Continuing that nice hitting streak, too.
Chuck Hernandez is out visiting with Tom Kohler, and I know he talked with you about this young pitcher's emotions.
Yep, he said that he's got to be able to control the emotions, but also his mound presence. And mound presence is tested in a situation like this. Team's kind of picking you up a little bit. They're beating on you some, just knocked in a couple runs. Don't show the offense any emotion.
Do you think he talked with him about Escobar possibly stealing second base and letting him go and concentrating on Dyson?
He said, look, don't worry about Escobar. Don't worry about these runners. Get the hitter. Dyson, we can get him out. But pitch him, throw him some high fastballs. We want him to hit the ball in the air. Don't let him hit the ball on the ground. I guarantee you there wasn't one thing said about the base runners. Because those guys can't hurt you.
Escobar 13 for 13, stealing bases. Esky goes, pitch taken. They let him take second base. It is a steal, and it's number 14.
Let him have it. Now Dyson has a chance here to really hurt this kid if he can just do something like Getsy did.
Breaking ball in there. So Dyson down 0-2. Girard walked his first time up. One of those home runs right down the line. Pushes that one to the second baseman. Solano throws him out, but the Royals get 2 runs with 2 outs. Maxwell has done it with the glove and with the bat.
He's Maxwell Smart. Closer wheels, moves. He could be Superman.
And into a race a couple of weeks ago, and the same reaction came from Jamie Carroll when he found out yesterday. He finished up with the Twins in Chicago against the White Sox and then found out he had been traded to the Royals. At first he said he was shocked because it's never happened in his long career during the season. Then he thought about it and he was really fired up. He said he called home to his wife and she said, "Let me call you right back." And he said, "No." And she said, "Uh-oh, what's going on?" And he said, we're traded. And so then it all sunk into them, and now he's got to take care of a lot of business with his wife, Kim, who's back in Minnesota. He's got twins, Cole and Mackenzie, son and a daughter who are 5, about to start kindergarten tomorrow. And he said he mentioned it to his son, Cole, and Cole said, "Well, wait a minute, we don't like the Royals. They're in our division." And then when he realized he was going to get a new hat and a new jersey, Cole was very excited about it, and so was Jamie.
Great stuff, Joel. And we're delighted to have Jamie Carroll because Rex and I through the years have respected his play so much as a professional. And Rex, when you're dealing with team chemistry as strong as the Royals are, you really have to be very wary of who you select to add to your ball club. And Justin Maxwell and Jamie Carroll, very intelligent additions by Dayton Moore.
I agree with you 100%. Young and not so young. But it's good. He's a good mix, good fit. Solid player. You can count on him. He's reliable. And that's what you want for an infielder. A guy who can come in and play all three. You don't want some young hotshot that's not used to pressure. Jamie Carroll, he's going to be an addition. He's an add. He's a good plus to have.
Along with that, he's just a tough out. It always seems like it's a 3-2 count when Jamie Carroll's up.
Dayton Moore's really careful in who he brings in here, but the additions that he's made have been perfect to this already solid ball club.
It's interesting. We had Darren Erstad, the Nebraska baseball coach, the other day, and he said, it's really interesting. It's hard to talk about team chemistry, but when you don't have it, it's easy to talk about why a team doesn't win. There's a swing and a miss, and Marisnik is down on strikes. And Erstad noticed very quickly, talking with a lot of the members of the Royals when he was on the field, talking with Alex Gordon and Mike Moustakas and Miguel Tejada and others that he's known through the years, and he really believes that this Royal team has it. Good fit, good team chemistry.
No question, but it's developed. It just doesn't happen. It's not one thing that just happens overnight. They needed some veteran leadership. They addressed it. James Shields, he's a character and he's had some fun. He's kind of helped change the clubhouse atmosphere a little bit. However, your team leader is not a starting pitcher. He's a position player. Miguel Tejada, he's helped out a lot in that area there.
Joel, your thoughts?
Guys, I think Jamie Carroll has as good of an understanding of this Royals team from the other side. He was just here a week ago, and he said the talk in the Minnesota clubhouse and with Ron Gardenhire was just the energy and everything that they're doing right here. And so he's really going to be able to add to that. Great play by Alcides Escobar.
Well, that's the kind of defense they've been flashing all night long, Joel, when you consider what Maxwell did, what David Lowe did, and what Alcides Escobar just did, taking a hit away from Jeff Mathis.
You want a clinic on hands? You got one right there. Staying low to the ball. That's all hands right there. Now the rest of it, pretty much routine. He knows how to set his feet and use that cannon. Look at him getting some momentum going towards first base. He's got skills, Fizz.
And he may have heard all the praise that was given to Echeverria, the Marlins' young shortstop. The ball struck to the left side. Lowe is there, and a very comfortable fifth inning for Wade Davis. He has thrown 5. He has a 2-0 lead, and he'll watch his offense. Lowe, Hosmer, Butler coming your way. Bread, try pasta the Panera way. Live consciously, eat deliciously. And by Ford. See the new F-150 at your Midwest Ford dealer today. And by ATT Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PIC-ATT. Rethink possible. Steve Physiak, Rex Hudler, Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery with you at the K, where the Royals are 5-2 on this homestand and have a 2-0 lead on the Marlins. Game 1 of a 3-game series before we head to Detroit for 5 games in 4 days. David Lowe will lead it off. 0 for 1 with a walk.
Okay, don't let him up. Just stay on the attack.
His last game at Pittsburgh went only 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, but a career high 8 strikeouts. The Royals don't strike out very often. As a matter of fact, the fewest in the American League, and they have yet to strike out against young Tom Kohler.
They put the ball in play. Now, they may not get their base on balls, and they may not hit for a lot of power, but they frenzy hit. They put them together, just like we witnessed that last inning with 2 outs.
And on the road trip and on this homestand hunt, we've seen them put themselves in a lot of very favorable hitters' counts. 2-1, 3-1.
Yeah, they've been getting much better with plate discipline. They're getting themselves to better hitting counts. But Pedro Grifol has preached, find your pitch, hunt your pitch, look for yours. Don't worry about his. You just look for your pitch. When it gets in that area, no matter, regardless of what the pitch is, stay on it. Stay through it.
Morrison's going to have a tough time, and Lowe gets there first. Twice that has happened in this game. Logan Morrison getting it to the pitcher Kohler, who was late to the bag.
They might have Kohler do some PFP on the side here this week. Pitcher's fielding practice, because look, he's obviously not getting there quick enough. And they do this religiously every day in spring training. PFP. And you know what? He held up there. He hesitated. You got to continue your path through the base. You want to try to stay inside.
Rex, we are seeing things by the Marlins that the Royals were guilty of doing last year and a little bit the year before. Things that are because of youth. Hosmer hits one high in the air. Left side, Christian Yelich back. Makes the catch. Lowe will not advance.
Hosmer didn't quite get that one, because that's his wheelhouse. He goes left field, left center. He goes there with the best of them.
Kohler on his walk back to the mound still looked angry, so perhaps he's still thinking about the past. And not covering to get Lowe to open this inning, and also not covering at first base well to get Moustakas, which led to both runs in the 4th. Royals have played a lot of close games this year. As a matter of fact, they have as many one-run wins as any team, with the exception of Cleveland in the American League. And Cleveland has 23, and the Royals have 23 one-run victories. 55% of the Royals games this year have been decided by 2 runs or less. Payne to the outside corner with that breaking ball. Lowe stole a base yesterday. He has 4 on the season. The Royals right now number 1 in the American League in steals with 91. Escobar ripped off his 14th.
Well, they're an aggressive base running team, and that's what some Royals fans like the most about them. The way they take off. They run, and any ball hit to the right or left of the fielder, they keep going on third base.
They've really become a team that makes you think as a fan or a broadcaster. Are they going to hit and run? Are they going to steal? Are they going to bunt? And Butler then mashes one to left field. Lowe must stop at second base, but 2 on with 1 out in the 5th. So 3rd time through the order. Royals beginning to figure out young Tom Kohler.
Okay, that's a hard little running 2-seamer coming in on his hands, but Billy was too quick. He saw it coming.
Salvador Perez has grounded out twice. Once to third, once to short. But Salvi really tough with runners in scoring position. They're hitting .345 against the Royals catcher.
Salvi, for most hitters, when they step in the box, they take a look and see what's around them. How the defense is playing.
High in the right center field, Marisnik. Oh man, they struggle to get the baseball, and Lowe is wise to tag and go to third. And Rex, I'm not sure, there might be something wrong with Mike Moustakas because Jamie Carroll is coming in to pinch hit for Moose.
Yeah, no, I was chuckling at the way they played that ball in the outfield. But yeah, Jamie Carroll's going to make his Kansas City Royals debut right here. Pinch hitting for Mike Moustakas. But the outfield confusion is interesting. Okay, center fielder Marisnik, you gotta yield to Stanton because Stanton has a better angle. He has a better angle to throw. The center fielder's going away from the play there, so this is a little communication issue.
So Jamie Carroll up for his first at bat as a Royal. I think Moustakas may have gotten hurt on that infield hit. Strike one. Perhaps sliding into home. Either way, it was running the bases in that 4th inning. The Royals getting a lot of injuries lately. Tejada, Kane on the disabled list. Salvador Perez just coming back from the 7-day concussion DL.
Let's take a look at Moose going into first base here. Okay, let's see this. Look like there's too many issues here. Let's see it sliding home here. Ah, yeah. There's a little grimace there. So I don't know if he landed on his knee hard or maybe he just sore on his leg. I don't know. We'll let you know.
So 39-year-old Jamie Carroll from Evansville, Indiana. He chases a breaking ball away from him and strikes out. The Royals lead 2 in the 5th, but have a 2-0 lead over the Marlins going to number 6. Carlos Stanton, both 23. Hosmer 15 days older. Both have had very good starts in their young careers.
Both have superstar potential.
Now Jamie Carroll comes in defensively for Moustakas. He pinch hit for Moose. In the bottom of the fifth, there's a ground ball to hit to Escobar. 1 out. Solano is the first man out. And as we take it a step further, Hud, on Giancarlo Stanton, these are their numbers through their young career. Hosmer, as I said, 15 days older than Giancarlo, who's from Southern California, and Hosmer from Florida. Eric with a higher batting average, more home runs by Stanton. He blasted 37 last year, but only 13 this year.
Well, he blew his hamstring early in the year, and that really set him back. I mean, it was not just a little strain. He tore his hamstring, and that set him back. And obviously, but he's one of the strongest guys. He's got a lot more pure power than Hosmer. Hosmer's a better all-around player as far as hitter goes. He can hit the ball and spray the ball with power to all fields. But this guy Stanton, he's a pull home run guy. He can hit some balls out to right field and center, but mainly he gets up on that plate and squares them up, and there's not a park that can hold him.
He's like Dave Winfield. He's 6'6", 240.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Hosmer is very small at 6'4", 225.
No, but they both have superstar written all over.
But I would imagine also playing for a team that you know is going to lose, was in dead last place, and Rex, teams aren't pitching to him. He walked 27 times in July. And he lines one to center field. 1 out base hit. Dyson misplays it, and Stanton will make it perhaps to third. Yes, he will. Escobar's throw will not get him.
Well, he's not used to balls being hit out there with that type of authority on the ground. He just misplayed it. Okay, this ball here, I mean, it was just well struck. I mean, he hit that ball hard. If he gets underneath that, it's going out everywhere. But that was just a careless defensive play there. Whenever you back up on the ball, it's going to play it.
So Davis has to do some pitching again, trying to protect this 2-0 lead. Left-handed batter Logan Morrison from Kansas City, the batter.
Like
and
I said,
Davis runs a fastball up and in on him.
Dyson's not used to a ball hit with that kind of authority on the ground like that.
Well, you got to get in front of it and knock it down.
It ate him up. You know you're strong when you can eat up a center fielder on a hard smash single.
One ball, one strike. Davis has struck out 2. We got Dobbs looking in the second. Marisnick swinging in the 5th. Just did miss.
Okay, Fizz, I was telling you, there's not been a ball hit off a bat this hard all year. And center fielder, left fielder, right fielder, no one's used to this type of speed, especially when it bounced right before it got to him. 112.8. By far the hardest struck ball we've seen all year.
And Morrison gets into one deep to right field. Maxwell going back. He will not make the catch. Dyson backing him up. A run will score, and Morrison into second base with an RBI double.
Morrison thought he got him one right here in his own backyard. 92 right down the middle. Maxwell went back, had time, Just off the end of his glove. I mean, not that much time. The wall is right there. Had a good jump. There's Morrison's family. They're saying, did he? Oh, but still, look. See, they thought he was caught.
Now Ed Lucas. And Lucas had a very tough at-bat in the second. Told you he was robbed of a hit by Maxwell, but also in the fourth inning. He saw 8 or 9 pitches from Wade Davis before finally grounding out. And he swings and misses and down in the count. He was down 0-2, fought back to make it a 3-2 count before Wade got him on a comebacker.
Lucas has an inside-out kind of an uppercut type swing. Makes it a little bit harder for consistent contact. However, he sprays the ball around. 0-2, he's going to be defensive, just trying to find any kind of way to get it done.
Takes a called strike 3 and knew it as he backs away from home plate. That's 3 strikeouts for Davis tonight.
Okay, beautiful pitch there. Nice changeup.
And you can get downloads up to 50 megabits per second with Time Warner Cable Ultimate Internet. Kohler's topped out at 95, and so has Davis. Wade has also shown a very good breaking ball that he has been able to locate inside and outside. The veteran Dobbs, the batter. Hit well down the right field line, and that's a fair ball and will tie the game. Dobbs has a double. Maxwell having a difficult time in the corner, and he will turn it into 3 bases.
That ball was laced. Looked like it was a ball that he can handle. It was right down the middle, looked like to me. We'll have to see the replay. Okay, he's on the inner half. Dobbs knew it all the way. Wasn't going to hook.
Echeverria has singled and grounded out.
Okay, Maxwell, he just missed that. But probably would have been able to hold him to second base had he caught it the first time around. But he'll be charged with an error on that.
2 errors on the Royals outfielders in this inning. Double and an error, they're ruling it. Just waiting for the official scorekeeper to give us that announcement. He did.
You know, there is a time where you get used to the playing surface out there. Maxwell is not new, not making any excuses for him. He'll tell you that was a ball that just got under his glove there. That was just a physical mistake. But he's still getting used to everything out here. That great catch he made earlier for Wade Davis against that wall, he wasn't really sure exactly where he was on that one either. It takes a little bit of time to get to know the lay of the land. Again, not making any excuses for him, telling you what a player has to go through with adjustments. Lewis Coleman getting ready.
Pounds a fastball on the inner half. Gets back in the count at 3-2. After a rough 4th inning where he got out of a bases loaded jam getting Echeverria, he cruised through a 1-2-3 5th, but here in the 6th, a single, a double, another double, a couple of errors by his outfielders have cost him.
Oh, well, you know, you don't see that all that often. It's not like it happens all the time. I mean,
No, I mean, the Royals had made only 8 errors their previous 31 games before this one. Walked him. Second base on balls issued by Davis tonight, trying to get through this 6th inning. Which told you Lewis Coleman has been warming down in the Kansas City pen, and Dave Island trying to get Wade to settle down. We told you this has been a very emotional week for Wade Davis. He has not pitched in 9 days, returning to the active roster today after being on the family emergency list since last Sunday following his stepbrother's passing, and it was his stepbrother very close, same age, and he was pitching with a heavy heart today. Last outing against the Mets 9 days ago, went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs, didn't get the decision. That was a game the Royals lost in extra innings on Eric Young's walk-off.
You know, Davis has done a nice job. Got through the first few innings, early count outs.
Now Jake Marisnick.
Defense hurting him a little bit in this inning.
Jake started his young major league career 0 for 14. Snapped out of it a little bit, only hitting .224 since.
Well, you know, Fizz, these guys are just in their 3rd week of the show. I mean, they haven't been here very long at all. So
we're talking 21, 22-year-old kids who probably should still be in AA or AAA.
Oh, there's no question about it. And they have potential, but, you know, you got to get so many at-bats before you can get confident enough to where you can succeed up here. But when you have a team like the Marlins where you're just starting from scratch and developing again, I mean, you're going to learn at the big league level, which is a good thing if you're a young player to be in their organization.
They're last in the National League East, but playing .500 baseball the last 2.5 months because of their great pitching. Royals coming off an emotional series with the first place Boston Red Sox in the American League East. Kansas City taking 3 of 4. Greg Holland closed out the 4-3 victory last night, and after the game he said if you want to go to the playoffs you have to beat playoff teams, and that's what the Royals did to Boston, taking 3 of 4. In the air, center field, long run for Dyson. He will get there. Make a nice running catch. But the Marlins score 2 and tie the game at 2, heading to the bottom of the 6th. Members receive a gray batting practice jersey, Royals hat, blue wristbands, ticket vouchers, priority access for the Sunday Fun Run, and much more. Membership is just $25. Be a part of the fun by joining at Royals.com/Blue Crew. And of course, the 6th inning is our Sonic Slam inning. Our contestant is Gary Rooks from Sedalia. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Gary will win $700. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Gary wins $25,000 from Sonic and the Royals. Well, Gary, you got a pretty good power hitter at the plate in Justin Maxwell. And he takes strike one. He hits one high and deep to right. Chasing the right fielder Stanton back, who will make the catch for out number one.
Didn't quite get it all. We know he's got power that way. We've seen him already hit a home run to the opposite field. And there's very few right-handers that can go opposite field in this yard.
The wind was blowing out a bit towards right. Here's Chris Getz, who drove in the Royals' second run.
He stays inside the ball nicely, Maxwell.
Got his first Royals triple in his last at bat, did Justin Maxwell. Getz would love to get on base any way possible with his speed. He's walked 15 times this year and only struck out 19. Hit .310 at AAA. And Kohler having a tough time pitching to Chris, who will be very patient. Likely will take a pitch here. And he delivers a strike on the inside corner.
Might want to take another one even.
He does.
Okay. Now you can go to hitting. If it's anywhere close.
Oh. And then Getsy strokes one right back up the middle. It was 3 straight pitches, same spot, and Chris just measured up the first 2 and timed the third perfectly.
He's had 2 out of the 3 perfect at-bats. And those are 3 identical pitches. So Chris Getz says, okay, I'm going to make you take the count to 3 and 2, and then I'm going to make you throw me another strike. And talk about chuck and duck, man. Ooh, man, that just missed Kohler's head.
I remember that great line from Stan Musial about being able to hit any fastball. And he said, I don't care if it's 100 miles an hour or 500 miles an hour. And the writer said, what are you talking about, Stan? And he goes, I can hit a 727. He goes, I'd let the first 2 727s go by and I'd time them, and I'd hit that third.
I hear you. It's not too many hitters that don't love a fastball.
Escobar, the batter. Good duo to hit and run with Esky and Getz. Getz went off on a straight steal his last time up when Escobar lined a single to right field. Chris does not go, and the pitch wanders outside. 2-1. This is a good count to go on.
Yeah, it's an action count. You know, pitcher wants to throw a strike. Escobar, he sees that big hole over there on the right side, and he's been going to it very regular.
Three balls, 1 strike. A little concerned about Getz at first, but Chris has not gone and may not until 3-2. 3-2.
They got that fastball by him. But Escobar, he looks to me like he's shooting to hit that hole. Let's see how big that is.
I'm expecting Getz to go right here. Morrison holding him. He does go. The pitch is swung on it. Blue towards right. That will drop. Stanton gets to it, then loses it. And here comes Chris to break the 2-2 tie. And Escobar all the way to third.
All right, how about those 7 and 8 spots in the order? Chris Getz getting on base. Escobar with a beautiful piece of hit, and that was so nice. Told you he was trying to go that way, but man, I'll tell you, this is not easy to do. That ball, that's 3 inches on the outer half of the plate, and he just said, I'm going to just meet it. I'm not going to try to overswing. And Stanton, he did all he could, but that ball got under his glove and by him. If I'm going to fish a score, I'm giving Escobar a clean triple on that. That was a tough play for Stanton. We'll see what they scored.
It is a clean triple, which gives him his 41st RBI of the year.
That was really nice. 4th triple on the year.
Chuck Hernandez going out for a visit because Dyson is up, and the Royals could be up to something with 1 out. They could try a squeeze with Dyson with 2 action guys with very good speed, 1 at third and 1 at home. Webb and Jennings are the relief pitchers warming in the Marlins pen. Wade Davis likes this. Right now he's got a W he's staring at. He had a 2-0 lead, but the Marlins scored 2 off of Davis in their half of the 6th inning. Now the Royals have come back with 1 so far against 27-year-old rookie Tom Kohler.
Okay, infield's going to come in. Dyson can take a page from Chris Getz. Just try to guide the ball up the middle. Or get up underneath one.
He squares but takes a strike. Rex, is there a reason he squares but takes a strike rather than gets on top of that baseball?
You know, Fizz, I can't tell you.
Because I'm just thinking all of a sudden you're in an 0-1 count.
Yeah. Infield's already in, so you're not going to bring him in anymore any closer. And when you mention a squeeze, we haven't seen a squeeze all year.
No, we haven't.
We've seen one attempted in Cleveland, but it was botched. It didn't work. But
I will say this, though. Dyson does work on his bunting, but he's different in practice than he is in the games.
Yeah, well, he needs to be swinging away here. This is an opportunity with that infield in. You can find a hole, just like he did in the previous series. Got a big base hit with the infield drawn in against the Red Sox.
They've gone to the 8th in Minnesota. The Twins leading Cleveland 3-0. Guess who's pitching? Andrew Albers. Oh, and he takes a strike. It's a 2-2 count. Andrew Albers tied up the Royals in his debut last week. A chopper. Escobar's going to score, and Dyson is safe.
What's wrong with that?
Perfect.
I mean, if he could do that every time, he would. Perfect. I thought there was going to be a little collision here. The third baseman, Lucas, he just came and took charge, and really he's the guy to make that play. But Dyson, he smelt that hit. And Ribby. So now that's consecutive days that Dyson has knocked in a run. Consecutive games. One yesterday, he knocked Moose in when the infield was in.
2 so far in the inning, and this is our Chevy call to the bullpen. We'll see a lefty when we come back.
Nice baby today, so we're congratulating him. But man, I tell you what, David Lowe says, I want to make Alex proud. Echeverria, he thought he had him a double. David Lowe says, nah, I don't think so, not so fast, got you by a mile. Don't try to trespass on me. And it was beautiful. Now watch it, okay? He's playing a lot of right field now, so left field there's an adjustment. Watch his footwork. Okay, he catches it quickly, gets to his proper throwing position, didn't have to spin around, and threw a dart right to Getzy. Chris Getz with the tag.
Todd, you're the best. Alex Gordon had a nice baby today. That sounds like he had a base hit.
You know what, Fizz?
You know, a base hit is nice. You know, you can do a nice job on an English exam, but a baby is either beautiful, but it's not nice.
I'm just a
I love
baseball
you, man.
player. Fizz, I'm just a baseball player. I'm an old player. Okay. I was trying to make it work.
He just reached into the bat rack and pulled out a nice baby. Here we go, David Lowe.
Okay, Jennings. He's got a fastball that he can reach low 90s with, 89 to 93. Good slider. A couple different speeds to his slider.
Let's see what kind of move he has, because with one out, Dyson likely to go. Jennings was born in Berkeley, California, but raised in Des Moines. He was Iowa State Player of the Year. And he led Valley High School in West Des Moines to consecutive Iowa State titles in 2004 and 2005. Lowe showed bunt. Takes a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Then he went to the University of Nebraska as a pitcher for the Cornhuskers. Went 7-3 with a 3.66 ERA.
You know, Gerard wants to go.
He does not. Wow. Lowe fouls it right at the feet of the catcher, Jeff Mathis. Jennings pitched yesterday in their loss to Atlanta. Did not go well. Gave up a walk, a hit, a couple of runs. Marlins had the lead in that game, 4-0, but the Braves came roaring back to win 9-4. Battered the Marlins bullpen. Oh, almost had him picked up, and he was ready to go. Had Jennings given him his A move, I think he would have picked him off.
You know, a lot of guys, when they take a jump like that, they get picked off. They can't get back. But Dyson's feet are so quick. He's low to the ground. He stays low. Very quick feet.
Jennings didn't give him his best move. He's bringing it home, and Lowe pulls it to the line. They're saying it is a foul ball.
First baseman Mark Carlson, he was right there. He had his nose right on that play. And made the correct call. Watch his positioning here. Look at it. It's a foul ball. David Lowe says, good, because I want a chance to find a hole here. Try to send Dyson all the way to third base or home with a gapper.
He's been on twice with a walk and an infield hit. Did you find left-handers more difficult to steal on?
It just depended, Fizz, on who they were, but most of the time that they're looking at you, they have the edge of holding you. But you go first movement.
He goes. Pitch taken. Throw to second. Safe.
Yeah, the minute that guy lifts his foot up, you go. Even if he throws over to first base, you still, especially Dyson, has the speed to pull that off.
He's only been caught 4 times, and this was steal number 18.
Dyson goes head first a lot. Sometimes he overslides. He gets going so fast. But that's a really good ripoff there.
And then he tips his cap to the dugout. Low swings, and I guess he foul tipped it right at the plate. We're broadcasting backside. I was not watching the monitor to see whether it was fouled off in that dirt. Jeff Mathis, a very good defensive catcher. Dyson again trying to get into the mind of relief pitcher Dan Jennings, who's taken over from Tom Kohler here in the 6th. Again struck foul. Did you find third easier to steal off a lefty than a righty?
Yeah, you can get a bigger lead. Sometimes you can even walk it. You can get away with a lot more at second than you can at first. Look at Dyson's lead. Look at that. He was thinking about going right then. He has that kind of speed that he could have just taken off and probably beaten Lucas, the third baseman, to the bag. You can get away with a lot more.
It's 3-2. Ryan Webb was the right-hander warming in the bullpen, and I'm guessing that he is getting ready for Billy Butler. That will see Jennings through Hosmer, who's in the on-deck circle.
And you know, Gerard Dyson, he's distracting Jennings. Jennings just a young player. I mean, young pitcher. He's more interested in what Dyson's doing, so he tried to quick pitch home. And he missed way out of the zone.
Dyson goes, pitch is taken, and it's dropped into right field. Dyson will score easily. The Royals go in front 5-2.
I had to look up the scoreboard and see that there wasn't 2 outs, because that's the time usually David Lowe gets his RBIs. But really, nice piece of hitting here. He just guided it out there. We've seen Escobar now knock in a run like that, and now Lowe. This is really good. This is how you stay with a breaking ball. You shorten up your swing, and you just guide it to the area right there. Dyson, He saw it. He said that was going to be no problem. Eddie Rodriguez keeping him going.
So Girard was able to get it done. And the 7, 8, 9 hitters tonight are 5 for 8. Dyson's been on twice with a walk and a single, a run scored, an RBI. Escobar with a pair of hits, a single, a triple, an RBI, a run scored, and Getz with a pair of singles, a run scored, and an RBI. Hosmer 0 for 3. He's trying to join the offensive parties.
It's to see the bottom of the order, but you just never know with these Royals who's going to be the bus driver recently, because they're all contributing.
To second base, could be 2. It is a double play, 4-6-3. But in the inning, the Royals score 3 times, break the 2-2 tie, and Wade Davis will lead with a 5-2 edge. It's up to the bullpen. Energy shots. It's just another beautiful evening at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. The Royals have jumped in front of the Marlins 5-2 on a gorgeous evening. Temperatures in the 70s. We had rain this morning, clearing out all the sky, and it has been a gorgeous evening for the fans who came to the K tonight to watch Game 1 of this series. And Lewis Coleman comes out of the bullpen after Wade Davis went 6, gave up just 2, and stands to win this game if the bullpen can do what they have done recently.
Tell you what, Lewis Coleman, he's been special. Very good fastball, hitting his spots in the corners, inside, outside, and has a devastating slider. It's been crisp and sharp.
Jeff Mathis will lead things off. Jeff Mathis, a veteran, 30 years of age, from Mariana, Florida, was with the Angels. Very fine defensive catcher for Mike Scioscia. And he shows bunt because Jamie Carroll was well back at third and then broke in quickly. But the bullpen on this homestand has been rock solid. 1 earned run in 20 innings. 7 walks, 25 strikeouts. And they have the lowest ERA in the American League, 2.73, outstanding number. And it allows Ned Yost to shorten the game. Crow, Hochevar, Herrera, Mendoza, and of course Greg Holland, Tim Collins.
It's tough for hitters to pick up the ball coming out of Coleman's delivery. You see those guys in the pen, they're just saying, hey, look, call either one of us, we'll do the job for you. Kind of like offensively what Ned's getting from his offense now.
Salvi wants it down, but he blows it away with a fastball right down Broadway. This is what we were talking about, Rex. The job the bullpen has done on this 5-2 homestand.
I mean, you know what? Saves, that's what you want, but the opponent's average. Strikeouts are important because you know managers love guys that have swing and miss stuff. They can come in a game and shut something down right away with runners on. They're well armed to go to postseason. Now, will it happen? I don't know. They're going to have to grind the rest of the way. It won't be easy. Stranger things have happened. This team is closer than a lot of people think. But a lot of people in baseball, though, are watching and saying, oh, yeah, we've seen it coming.
I tell you, there's a lot of teams that are in contention who would love to have a Lewis Coleman. He has 16 1/3 scoreless innings over 2 stints with Kansas City this year. There will be a base hit to right field, and Yelich is on for the first time. Time for our AT&T trivia question. What will they drum up tonight? Will it be about pitching, offense, defense? Who are the 2 active major league players remaining from the Marlins 2003 World Series club? Well, I know one who's a pretty good player in Detroit. Oh, almost got him.
Salvy's been waiting to do that. It's quick as his hands are and his feet, but look where the feet is. Look where he throws his ball. Right on the perfect side of the base. Look at Hosmer. Oh, man. I don't know how you can't call him out on that.
Wow, he's out.
He looked out to me, too.
Popped up. Hosmer. 2 outs. Salvador Perez goes out to visit with Lewis Coleman. And we're still thinking about the Marlins when they won it in 2003, and that was over the New York Yankees 4-2. Jack McKeon, who has some royal ties, he was the manager that year. And the Marlins, each time they've won the World Championship, Rex, they went in as a wild card, both in 1997 and in 2003. Giancarlo Stanton singled, went to third on the error by Dyson in the 6th. One ball, 1 strike. Won the World Series in '97 over Cleveland, and that was a great rotation of Kevin Brown, Livan Hernandez, who won the MVP that year. Gary Sheffield was on that team. Edgar Renteria knocked in the game-winning run. Greg Counsell in the 11th inning, and that was the team they beat. I thought was the best in baseball, Cleveland.
They were. That was their last run they had.
Like we talked about in '98, they had the fire sale. They traded all of their best players and went young. And they did the same thing when they won in 2003. They had all of these great players stockpiled. They traded them all the next year. '98, they dumped Bobby Bonilla, Gary Sheffield, Charles Johnson, Jim Eisenreich, Moises Alou, Kevin Brown. And I'm sure the fans are going, what? These are our champions. Stanton has a 3-2 count with 2 out. Yelich will be going. He does. And Stanton takes ball 4. So the tying run will come to the plate. And the local favorite, Logan Morrison.
So Ned's going to come out. He's got Tim Collins all ready to go.
Tim Collins coming in for the Royals when we come back. Who are the 2 active major league players remaining from the Marlins 2003 World Series club? We were guessing Josh Beckett, but he is inactive with the Dodgers.
Okay.
And Miguel Cabrera obviously was one of the choices. Juan Pierre currently with the Marlins. He was staring us in the face, Hud.
Yep. Juan Pierre was right here.
Gee, many Christmas. Well, we let our fans know that we don't know either. We don't even know what the questions are when they throw them at us.
All right, Collins worked that big curveball.
He does right away to Logan Morrison, who was bending a little bit when he saw it arrive. Tim opened the 8th yesterday facing David Ortiz in a 4-3 game against the Red Sox. He battled Big Papi in a 7-pitch at bat, retiring him on a fly ball to left. Another big breaker. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, and he's got Logan Morrison out front. Now, he didn't swing at it, but that's a great off-speed pitch. Lefty's just hitting 195 off of Collins this year.
Came back with the fastball and jumps in front. 1 ball, 2 strikes of the power hitting Logan Morrison. Tell you this about the Marlins. They have some big, thick youngsters with some power. They do swing and miss a bit. 2 on, tying run at the plate. 5-2 Royals lead. Collins wants the signs again from Salvador. Tried to go with that little slurvy breaking ball. He does have a curve that goes 12-6, and then he'll break that one off, trying to get Morrison to swing out of the strike zone.
See how he's juggling that ball around here, trying to find the grip that he wants.
Went changeup low, so he's gone from 1-2 to 3-2. Now the runners will be going. Coleman started the inning, struck out Mathis. Yelich got a base hit. Then he got Solano on a pop-up. Stanton walked. Collins on to face the lefty Morrison. That's a good at bat.
He was giving Morrison maybe a little bit too much respect there. That's going to stay with it.
I would imagine they're studying those charts of what Lucas has done with the left-handers.
Well, he's hitting .333 with a couple of home runs against lefties. And 57 at bats, so he's got a little something for him.
Strike one.
That's the beauty there. That's the pitch I thought he was going to throw.
Yeah.
Morrison.
Right-handers hitting .293 off Collins. He is in front, 0-2.
He's got the stuff to get righties or lefties out.
Davis was able to wiggle out of a bases loaded jam in the 4th inning, getting Echeverria on a ground out to third.
Maybe a straight changeup would work here. Maybe his fastball away. We'll see.
Left side, David Lowe at the warning track, pulls it down. The Marlins have left 9 in 7 innings.
You come inside there, you better be careful. Woo!
With a 5-2 lead going to the bottom of the 7th inning. 2 out RBIs from Maxwell and Getz. Escobar in the 6th. With Dyson and Lowe knocking in runs. Wade Davis could get the win as he allowed just 2 earned runs in 6 innings of work. And look who's here, Tom Watson, in the house one day after the PGA Championship. Jason Duffner won it, but he was singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Sporting his colors, man.
He's a good man. Ryan Webb will be the new pitcher for the Marlins. Big, tall, 6'6" right-hander from Clearwater, Florida. He can throw hard at 93 with a lot of movement on it.
He'll go up to 95 or 6. It's funky, too. You see that? That's kind of a funky delivery. He's got a cutter and a curveball and a changeup to lefties.
Command has been the issue. He has walked 23 in 53 innings, struck out 34, but I would imagine gets a lot of ground ball outs with that late sink. Billy's 1 for 3, a single his last time up.
Sinker, sinker, sinker. His dad, Hank Webb, pitched in the big leagues for the Mets and the Dodgers from 72 to 77. So he's got some big league lines. Oh.
Billy explodes on one. He hit it a ton.
No-doubter for Billy Butler. That's the 11th home run on the year for Billy. 61st ribby. And a no-doubter. Okay, this is a sinker that sunk over the outfield wall. Nice little toe tapper there, and he said, you know what? I got all that one. Oh, put a little bit of that barbecue sauce on that baby.
Meantime, Hud, the Chicago White Sox knocked off the Detroit Tigers. Chris Sale over Doug Fister. Tigers have now lost 3 of their last 4 after winning 12 straight. And Minnesota, it's a final 3-0 shutout of Cleveland. Remember that Andrew Albers we saw shut down the Royals. He pitched another gem against the Tribe.
He did it again.
Yeah.
Guy's good. So is that guy, Billy Butler.
So if the Royals win this game, they'll move into second place ahead of Cleveland. Cleveland is also one of the teams in that wild card chase. I told you that Texas leads the West, but only a game over Oakland. Oakland won their game 5-1 over Toronto, so the Royals can't gain any ground on the Athletics. Swing and a miss by Salvador Perez, and he is 0 for 4 tonight.
Okay, steady as she goes. As far as the Royals, just keep that focus and that philosophy that Ned Yost, their manager, has been given them. Just take it one day at a time, nice and easy. Don't get too excited, don't get too low. But that's easy to say. If these players are embracing the fact that they're good and they know it, and they expect to win. It's called a winning swagger, but it's developed over time.
Here is Jamie Carroll, came on because Mike Moustakas suffered an injury. We're still waiting word on the details of what that injury was. Carroll acquired after Miguel Tejada placed in the disabled list with a strained calf. We hope it's a short stay on the DL for both Miguel and Lorenzo Cain. And the Royals will play a doubleheader on Friday. That will be against the Detroit Tigers, so they'll need another starting pitcher. And their options are open with Danny Duffy. He was scheduled to go 1 inning tonight for Omaha, but Ned Yost wouldn't show his hand. He just said Friday option is open for Duffy to go versus Detroit in that doubleheader. The count 3-1 to Jamie Carroll.
Okay, Jamie Carroll, his strengths are battling up at the plate. You know, inside out swings to right field. He'll pull the ball. He's short and quick to the ball. A lot of experience. chokes up on the bat. He's kind of a throwback player, hustles all the time. He knows his strengths. He knows his weaknesses, but he gives you all he's got. He's the ultimate pro.
And it always seems like the at-bat is 6, 7, 8, 9 pitches. Up the middle, Echeverria. He's able to make the play, and a nice one that will go 1-6-3. But I love the comment that Joe Goldberg got when he was talking with Jamie earlier today, and he said, when did you find out and what did you do? And he said, the first thing I did was I called my wife, and she said was busy. She said, can I call you back? And he goes, no, we've been traded.
That's right. Got business to attend to.
Justin Maxwell is 1 for 3 tonight. Almost went 2 for 3 with an opposite field home run, but it was caught at the wall by Stanton. He did triple in the 2-run fourth, and he takes a big rip at a breaking ball.
Mike Moustakas was taken out of the game because of calf tightness. Not sure exactly what calf it is, but they said calf tightness.
And I'm guessing either that play at first base when he left calf tightness when he was trying to reach on the infield hit, which he did successfully, and then came around to score. But he winced a little bit, we saw on that slide at home plate.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was a slide.
Royals trying to go 19-5 since the All-Star break. Ground ball third. Lucas barely gets Maxwell at first base, but Billy Butler put a little barbecue sauce on that, HUD.
That's right. It was a Billy bomb and well struck. No doubter.
Losing tonight, Chris Sale helping out the Royals, and the Indians meeting Andrew Albers. His second start even better than his first against the Royals. Oakland 5-1 over Toronto, so that does not help. The Royals, Texas, we told you before, one better than Houston. The Yankees on top of LA 2-1, and Arizona and Baltimore tied at 2. Did want to point out in the National League, the Cubs have been shut out at home 3 straight games. Longest streak they've had since 1924. As for that Cleveland-Minnesota game, Trevor Plouffe with his 11th home run of the day, and the Royals fans can be pulling for Jamie Carroll's former team, the Minnesota Twins, going up against the Indians. Kelvin Herrera is in, and we have a new Royal to tell you about, as Alex Gordon, his wife Jamie, she gave birth today to their second son, Sam Patrick Gordon, 8 pounds, 15 ounces. Congratulations to Jamie. Alex, who is expected back tomorrow, and Max on, as Rex said, a nice baby.
Beautiful. That's what I said, Joel. Yeah, look, I'm happy for him. Congratulations, guys. And especially Jamie letting Alex come back to the yard tomorrow. Oh, that's really good of you.
The Royals are on a play-up chase. And Jamie is in a chase for more diapers. But she's got help. Mom and Dad. Here's the pitch, and it is swung on, fouled off. But I'm sure Alex very proud of what his team is doing. They have a 6-2 lead here in inning number 8. Kelvin Herrera coming out of the bullpen to face Greg Dobbs, Echeverria, and Marisnik.
Okay, Kelvin Herrera coming in. Ned likes him in the 8th inning. Doesn't always happen, though. It's not automatic that Herrera's the setup man. He goes with really mixes and matchups depending on what he's got, because he has the luxury of having 2 or 3 different guys that can fill that role. But Herrera's this guy. When it's on right and the pitcher goes 6 or 7, he typically is the guy to get the ball to that guy there, Holland.
He closed out the 9th inning last night, 1-2-3 fashion against the Red Sox. Getting LeVarn Way, Middlebrooks, and Ellsbury in order. But everybody in the Royals organization really believes that if Herrera gets back to where he was last year, man, that bullpen is as good as it gets. It already is number 1 in ERA in the American League. That ball is shot to right field for a base hit. So Dobbs is on for the second time, and he will stop at second base. Get ready for Fox Sports 1, America's new 24-hour sports network. Fox Sports 1 will be your home for great live sports, all the news and highlights you want, and shows and specials that only Fox could bring you. America's new sports network is Fox Sports 1, coming in just 5 days.
Just in time for the football season. How about that timing?
Well, let's pay off our Sprint question. We asked who would hit the most home runs for the Royals, and they went with Eric Hosmer. 52% of our fans said Hosmer over Alex Gordon, Moustakas, and Butler.
Hey, I hope it happens. Somebody's got to take the lead.
Billy knocked his 11th tonight. He had 29 last year. Echeverria has singled, been thrown out at second base trying to stretch it into a double, grounded out, and walked. For Herrera, it's all about command in the strike zone. Does he have the ability to hit the corners? He does there.
Heck yeah, he's got the pitches. The biggest thing for Herrera is to let go of the well hit balls off of him. Any kind of balls that are hit, whether they're homers or any kind of, don't change your body language any. Get back up on that mound. Don't show any weakness at all physically. His body language, he's learning. He's just in his second full season. But that's the one thing he can improve on. Let it go. You got to learn how to let the bat go.
I talk with Jeff Montgomery all the time about that, and Monty always said, you know what, in our role we have to. We can't hold on to the bat because tomorrow is immediately, when you're a reliever, you go every single day.
Yeah, but how about the next pitch? Forget about tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah, how about the next pitch?
And Monty is very matter of fact about it. It's like, well, I had to. I had no choice. Here's a line out to Jamie Carroll.
Yeah, Jamie Carroll, he couldn't have got here any sooner. With Moose having a little tightness in his calf, Jamie comes in there. He plays a very nice third base. Anywhere you put him, he's got great hands, good enough arm to play on the left side of the infield, quick feet.
I could see him as a future manager.
Definitely an infield coordinator or some type of instructor for sure.
Great player at Evansville University. He's in their Hall of Fame. Jake Marisnick is 1 for 3. 22 years old out of Riverside, California. Singled his first time up. Struck out against Davis and also flied to center field, getting Wade out of a jam in the 6th inning. Dyson made a nice running catch near the track in dead center.
Kid's a good player out there. He's got a nice throwing arm too at center. But you know, with the plate, like I said, they've only been here 3-4 weeks in the big leagues. He's going to be a little overmatched, like he was that first fastball at 98. That's going to overmatch a lot of guys. I don't care how long you got in the game. Herrera has a plus fastball, plus. Plus changeup as well.
Tried the off-speed pitch there, overthrew it, now has fallen behind Marisnick. Marlins tied it but have never led. Royals scored 2 in the 4th. Marlins scored 2 in the 6th, but the Royals immediately came back with 3 in the 6th and a home run by Butler in the 7th. 3-1.
He can get in there with that fastball.
He does after Marisnick had thrown his bat away, now is called back. And Salvador's going to go out and have a firm chat with Kelvin Herrera. He does and pats him on the back and heads back to the backstop.
Yeah, he's saying we got a 4-run lead. Let's just go after this guy. Don't be trying to be too fine with him. Even though that ball caught the corner.
Veteran umpires hate being shown up by a young.
No, he just said sorry about that.
It's still the body language because he
Yeah.
flipped the bat away, and that's
He
what
did.
the fans
But
say.
look what he does. Watch this. Watch this. Read his lips. Sorry about that. You see that? See him say that again? That's what you do. Look, sometimes you make a mistake, but the proper thing is to use those manners. They go on the field and off the field.
Please, thank you, and I'm sorry are great words. And also strike 3 when you're a pitcher.
And that's what Ned Yost loves about his bullpen. He's got guys that have the ability to punch him out. Look at the Royals fans. Grab some pine. Look at that. That's a hard, boring fastball. He came in on it. Look at these guys up there. Look at them. I love that.
Yeah, they're getting a little more active here at the K.
They should be active.
We had sensational crowds here. I mean, the energy in Kauffman Stadium during that 4-game series with the Red Sox was like a playoff atmosphere. And when Holland got that final out, when he struck out Jacoby Ellsbury, this place was roaring. Royals have won every single series since the All-Star break, 7 straight. That's their longest streak since 1991, when they won 9 straight from July 17th through August 15th. The record is 13 in a row back in 1980 when they won the American League Championship. And that was from June 10th until August 20th. But Denny Matthews always talks about they wrapped up the title at the end of May when they took a 3-game series from Texas. Mathis with a ground ball to Escobar. That will do it for the Marlins as Herrera works around a leadoff double by Dobbs and shuts him out in the 8th. StubHub is a great place to find the seats you want to see the Royals in person. Now they've added StubHub fan rewards so you can earn a little extra with your tickets like seat upgrades. So head to StubHub and get your Royals tickets today.
How about some hit it a ton barbecue sauce?
They're drinking it right out of the tap. Chris Getz has had a fine game both defensively and offensively. He is 2 for 3 with an RBI single in the 4th. He also singled and came around to score in the triple by Escobar in the 6th. Good to see him back and healthy because he really solidifies that defense. Hochevar warming up for the Royal 9th. Chris takes strike 1. Webb still on the hill. He gave up the home run to Butler, and Chris pulls one through and has a 3-hit game.
Wow. Is it possible that Chris Getz drives the Royals bus tonight?
Well, you've got your choice to vote for him. Vote for the Royals Player of the Month, sponsored by Majestic and Rally House. Vote at Rally House stores and get a chance to go on field and meet the winning player. Royals would love to have Chris really play well because right now they're talking about going with a platoon situation with Getz against right-handers and Jamie Carroll at second base against the left-handers. Escobar 2 for 3. Getz goes immediately. There's the throw to second base, and it is not in time and dropped by the shortstop or by the second baseman as Getz will have steal number 9.
Yeah, Donovan Solano, second baseman, he tried to get that ball and tag him before he caught the ball. A little short hop pick. Good try, though. That's all you have to do sometimes. Just try to stab at it and tag him. It's that quick. Might have hurt jammed his wrist a little bit. Kid Solano.
So Escobar with a solid homestand. 13 hits now in 28 at-bats, and right at the right time, because he was mired in a major slump, not even only on the last road trip, but prior to that. But we're seeing better at-bats, and Pedro Grifol working with him daily. And Eske was out early for batting practice today.
No, it's nice to see the fellas out there doing extra work when we get here to the ballpark, and they do that even though it's dog days. They still got to make time at home to come out and work on a few little things. We saw the pitchers working on PFP, pitchers fielding practice, bunting drills, catchers throw.
Well, they're energized. James Shields, who saw success in Tampa Bay and helped lead the Ray way there for Joe Madden, he said after his victory yesterday, I feel like ever since the All-Star break, we're making a statement. We're here to stay, we're here to compete, and every opponent is going to know about it. That ball struck to center field. Getz is going to tag. Catch is made. Chris goes to third. Here's a good throw, and they've got him.
Wow.
Excellent throw.
Yeah, they told me before the game he's got a great arm. And you don't hear that term great arm unless the guy truly has a great arm.
That was a sensational throw.
Well, that's a great arm. Man, I mean, talk about accuracy. And I thought Escobar was going to dig himself for a productive out. Ooh, man, right on the bag. And Getzy, hey, that's what you got to do. You got to tag on that. Make him throw a perfect throw just like that. Tip your cap. Wow.
Webb will take care of it. Dyson is out. So are the Royals. We head to the ninth. It's KC 6, Miami 2. Here comes Hoach.
Ready for Boulevard Royals Live. It'll be up at Rivals as always. And when we talk about this one, Jeff Montgomery will break down the return of Wade Davis. We'll also hear from Ned Yost and talk a bit about this offense, which got going slowly but continued to roll eventually. And they have now averaged over 5.5 runs per game on this homestand. That and much more coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Fizz?
Thank you very much, Joel. Luke Hochaver comes out of the bullpen to pitch in game number 39 this year. ERA is excellent at 1.67. So is his whip. And 14 walks, 45 strikeouts. He'll face the top of the order. Kristen Yelich, Donovan Solano, Giancarlo Stanton. Strike one. Game 2 tomorrow, and what a pitching matchup Jose Fernandez, the guy who throws 98, and Bruce Chen, who almost throws 88. We love watching Bruce deliver, and it's going to be interesting, Rex, watching Bruce, a veteran, go up against a bunch of young hitters.
Oh, it could be outstanding again. And whether they're young hitters or old hitters, it won't stand in the way of Bruce just trying to do his job and get his team a win. Make no mistake about that. But it'll be interesting to watch him. I think it's more interesting for him to face MVPs, veteran players, and he makes them look bad. I mean, Bruce Chen is so far been an unsung hero.
No question about it. And Hoch delivers that curveball way too early.
That's a little short.
It will also be fun for Royal fans to come to the ballpark to see one of the best young pitchers in the National League, Jose Fernandez. Absolutely sensational stuff. 8-5 record, but a 2.58 earned run average with 143 strikeouts. Fernandez, their future. I mean, he's only 21 years old. Jacob Turner, who will throw on Wednesday, is only 22. Henderson Alvarez, who will not pitch in this series, is only 23. And Hochevar blows away Christian Yelich with a fastball at 97 miles an hour.
Hoch has put away stuff as well. Look at that. That's a hard four-seamer.
Hoch trying to hand Wade Davis his 6th win of the year. Another solid job by the bullpen. It was Coleman and Collins in the 7th, Herrera in the 8th. And even though the Marlins were able to get runners aboard, once again the Royals pen threw up zeros. Hosmer kicks it over to Getz. This will be an infield hit for Solano. It will be a base hit.
Great try. Tried to steal it. Rob his hit. And Hoch, heck, he was going to be late covering. I don't know if he would have been there to make the play because he thought that was through the hole. But that's the kind of range that this defense has. Hosmer at first base, tremendous. Now with Chris Getz in there, that makes this defense one of the best as far as range goes. There is.
Stanton takes outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Greg Holland is warming in the Royal pen just in case. Royals lead by 4. Coach would love to keep it down right around the knees. Get 2 outs. Game over on 1 pitch. Stanton fouls it off, and he is down in the count 1-2.
How about Stanton hitting that ball at 112?
0.8. That's almost 113 miles an hour.
Off of his bat.
Strong man. 6'6", 240. And a lot of people think the Marlins will move him in the offseason and get a juggernaut of prospects. Swing and a miss. And Hochevar with a good cut fastball that he ripped away from the right-handed slugger. Gets his 2nd strikeout.
All right. Royals fans are up again, and it's a beautiful thing to see. The wins just keep coming, and hopefully the fans keep coming. There's 2 more nice games left. Who's chin tomorrow night?
Irvin Santana on Wednesday afternoon. Then we hit the road for Detroit before we come back home to face Cleveland and, that would be the Chicago White Sox in Washington. And there is a ball struck to center field. Dyson has it, and you can crown this one just another Royal victory. Billy Butler, he hit a blast to deep left field, home run number 11 this year. And that is our forward play of the game.
I'm going to tell you, this ball here, it was a sinker. And it was really well struck. I mean, that's on the inner half and running. Billy got a base hit earlier on a ball way inside. So looks like he's hot on that inside part of the plate. 11th homer. Let it go, Billy.
So the win goes to Wade Davis. He is now 6-9 this year. The bullpen continues to pitch rock solid baseball. They've allowed just 1 earned run on this homestand in 23 innings. 29 strikeouts, 4 more in this one. And Joel Goldberg has Chris Getz.
Thank you very much, Fizz, and joined right now by Chris Getz. And yes, Rex, he was driving the bus tonight. 3 hits in the return. You know, when you went on the disabled list and you left this team, they were playing great baseball. You come back, it hasn't stopped. What about tonight and the way you guys were able to get out there against the Marlins?
Yeah, I mean, when I went out to Omaha to meet the team, I was watching the games as many as I could on TV, and they were having so much fun. And I just couldn't wait to get back here and be part of it.
Okay, so what about tonight? And really the bottom of the lineup was able to get the job done, but this wasn't easy. You guys had never seen this pitcher before. What did it take to finally start to figure him out?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a battle each time. When you haven't faced any of these guys, whether they're hitters or pitchers or whatever. So it took us a little time to figure out and kind of settle in. Guy had some really good stuff tonight. We were able to put together some good at-bats, score some runs, and get the first win.
Is there a feeling down there, too, when you've got guys like yourself and Dyson Lowe at the top of that lineup that you guys can really create some things because you were running a lot?
Yeah, I mean, that's our role on the team, to get on base, create havoc, and let everyone else drive us in. And we were able to execute some of those things tonight. All
right, last thing for you. You mentioned watching from afar that the team looked like they were having fun. How different is it right now, too? You're in the middle of a race. Everybody says that every pitch, every at-bat matters. Can you feel the difference?
There's no question about it. We're having a lot of fun. This group of guys, we haven't been through something like this together. So we're enjoying it. We're along for the ride.
Welcome back. Great job tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Chris Getz with 3 hits in this one, and the bottom third of the lineup really getting the offense going as a spark plug tonight. And, hey, Hud, he was driving the bus, right?
All aboard!
Thank you, Joel. And KC is the only team in the major leagues to win every series since the All-Star break. They are now 17-3 in their last 20 games. We'll be right back.